Joy Behar, a co-host on the popular show The View, suddenly found herself in the center of controversy. During a live broadcast, her longtime colleague, Sunny Hostin, made a cryptic remark that hinted at Joy's comments and jokes having crossed a line. This remark sent shockwaves through the studio as it implied that Joy's commentary had fueled a $100 million lawsuit filed by Melania Trump against the show. The studio fell quiet, and viewers at home listened intently. Joy's expression grew stern as she pondered the implications of what had been said. The accusation was indirect, but the implication was clear and hurtful. Years of playful banter and pointed jokes had suddenly been twisted into ammunition for a legal battle with the former First Lady. Joy was not about to let it go unchallenged. She looked directly at Sunny, her voice steady yet sharp. "Are you really suggesting that my commentary is the reason we're facing this lawsuit?" The atmosphere in the room grew tense, and Sunny, visibly frustrated, hesitated to respond. Sunny Hostin made a bold claim on The View, which transformed the discussion into a personal confrontation. Joy Behar was prepared to respond forcefully. Hostin's accusation was rooted in a surprising family secret that suddenly made her the focus of criticism, despite her reputation as a courageous champion of social justice on the show. Sunny had been an outspoken advocate against racism, inequality, and historical injustices. However, when she appeared on the PBS show Finding Your Roots, she was confronted with a startling revelation. Her third great-grandfather had been a slaveholder. The discovery was jarring, not only for Sunny, but also for her followers who had witnessed her passionate condemnations of systemic racism. Instead of directly addressing this revelation, Sunny dismissed it as an unfortunate historical fact. This response was met with immediate and harsh criticism from both her critics and supporters, who questioned how someone so vocal about historical accountability could overlook her own family's dark past. People on social media accused the person of hypocrisy, questioning why they, who had long expected high moral standards from others, was now avoiding responsibility for their ancestors' actions. The criticism came not just from opposing viewpoints, but even Sunny's loyal followers began to doubt her. Troubled by how lightly she treated such an important discovery, her once unwavering moral foundation now seemed shaky. But this was just the start. As the world questioned Sunny's integrity, another controversy was brewing that would bring her co-host Joy Behar into the limelight and spark a confrontation unlike any other. The View had witnessed the aftermath, and the next step would not come from Sunny, but from Joy. The fallout from Sunny's host's shocking family revelation was swift and merciless, as social media erupted not with sympathy, but with outrage. People questioned how Sunny, who had often demanded accountability from public figures, could so casually dismiss the fact that her own ancestor was a slaveholder. The backlash came not only from critics on the opposite side of the political spectrum, but also from her own supporters, who had once admired her for her moral clarity, but now questioned her credibility. However, the backlash did not stop at online criticism. Fox News host Greg Gutfeld dedicated an entire segment to criticize Sunny's reaction, accusing her of hypocrisy by holding others to a standard she couldn't meet herself. Gutfeld was blunt in his assessment, portraying Sunny as someone who preached morality, but faltered when her own family's wrongdoings were under examination. His segment sparked even more backlash, fueling the growing perception that Sunny was not as principled as she seemed. The relentless and unforgiving internet amplified this narrative, with viral posts and memes on social media calling out the double standard. Sunny's comments and social media posts sparked intense scrutiny and questions about her integrity, leading to a full-blown crisis that threatened her reputation. While she defended herself, an even greater challenge was brewing behind the scenes. Melania Trump was planning a massive $100 million lawsuit alleging damaging and defamatory statements, which threatened to pull everyone, including co-host Joy Behar, into the conflict. Sunny was about to make a mistake that would further escalate the situation. The details of the lawsuit were unclear, but the timing was impossible to ignore. The media frenzy surrounding the Sunny host's family revelation was still fresh, and now Melania's legal action was dominating the headlines. However, this was not just another celebrity lawsuit, it was something far more dangerous for The View. Greg Gutfeld, who had been relentless in his criticism of Sunny, took it a step further. He skillfully connected the dots between Sunny's dismissive reaction to her family history and the lawsuit Melania had filed. Gutfeld Child painted a picture where, while Melania was actively fighting to protect her reputation, Sunny was dodging accountability for her own family's dark past. The narrative was set and it was devastating. Suddenly, The View was not just a talk show, but at the center of a media storm involving allegations of hypocrisy, personal betrayal, and a looming legal battle. The behind-the-scenes producers at ABC grew anxious as rumors spread that advertisers were getting nervous about the show's ongoing controversies spiraling out of control. In a moment of frustration, Sunny made a critical mistake by hinting on live television that Joy Behar's on-air jokes and commentary had fueled the narrative that led to Melania's lawsuit. Although Sunny didn't outright state it, the implication was clear. Joy's humor had given people like Melania the ammunition they needed to strike back. This was a dangerous accusation, and if Sunny thought Joy would stay quiet, she was gravely mistaken. The audience held their breath as Joy Behar sat in stunned silence. Her eyes locked on Sunny as the air in the studio became electric with tension. The comment hung in the air, its weight palpable. It was not the kind of remark that could be brushed aside with a casual dismissal. No, this was a direct and serious statement loaded with implication and insinuation. Joy felt the shock of it reverberate through her, her expression shifting from one of surprise to a more deliberate, sharp look. This was no mere jab. It was a challenge, a provocation that demanded a response. With a calm but cutting voice, Joy broke the silence that had fallen over the studio, the tension thick enough to be palpated. She posed the question directly, asking the other person if they were truly suggesting that she, Joy, was in some way responsible for Melania Trump's lawsuit. The implications were grave, the accusation a serious one, and Joy was not about to let it pass unchallenged. The other person hesitated, suddenly realizing the gravity of the implication they had put forth. But the words had already been spoken, and it was too late to take them back. Joy did not wait for a fumbling, half-hearted response. Instead, she unleashed a precise and devastating rebuttal, her words like a surgeon's scalpel cutting through the veneer of the statement. Reminding the other person and the audience watching live of the countless times their show had given a platform to those speaking out against racism and injustice. Joy highlighted the glaring contradiction. How dare they suggest she was complicit in the very oppression she had fought so tirelessly against? The hypocrisy was infuriating, and Joy channeled that fury into her response, her eyes flashing with righteous indignation. The studio was thick with tension, the air heavy with the weight of the exchange. All eyes were on Joy, as she refused to back down, her voice unwavering in the face of the challenge. This was no mere disagreement. It was a battle of principles, a clash of ideologies, and Joy was determined to emerge victorious, to defend the integrity of her work and her beliefs. Sunny had always been known for her unwavering stance on holding others accountable for their actions. She firmly believed that individuals should take responsibility for their choices and face the consequences, no matter how unpleasant. This unyielding approach had earned her a reputation as a principled and uncompromising individual, respected by some and feared by others. However, when Sunny was suddenly confronted with the troubling history of her own family, a noticeable shift occurred. Instead of applying the same standards she had upheld for others, Sunny found herself increasingly reluctant to address the skeletons in her own closet. She seemed to have developed a selective memory, conveniently forgetting the importance of accountability that she had so ardently championed in the past. It was during a tense public discussion that Joy, a close family friend, decided to confront Sunny about this discrepancy. With a calm yet impactful demeanor, Joy eloquently exposed the inconsistencies in Sunny's stance, leaving the audience stunned and unsettled. Sunny, who had once been the confident and unshakable voice of reason, now appeared visibly shaken as Joy demanded to know why she was being dragged into a lawsuit that had nothing to do with her. Joy's challenge was a direct blow to Sunny's carefully constructed image of moral superiority. The once casual and lighthearted atmosphere had transformed into a tense battleground, as Joy drew a line in the sand, daring Sunny to either fight back or succumb to the pressure. The audience, drawn in by the palpable tension, held their collective breath, anticipating Sunny's next move. The confrontation had laid bare the discrepancy between Sunny's public persona and her private actions, forcing her to confront the uncomfortable truth that her own family's past past was not as neatly resolved as she had led others to believe. The stage was set for a showdown, where Sunny would have to decide whether to stand by her principles or find a way to navigate the treacherous waters of her family's troubling history. Sunny, the outspoken co-host, was usually quick-witted and eloquent, effortlessly navigating the challenges of live television. However, in this moment, she found herself uncharacteristically at a loss for words. All eyes in the audience were fixed on her, eagerly anticipating her response to Joy's pointed remarks. Joy's voice remained steady, her words carefully chosen as she called out Sunny's hypocrisy. For years, Sunny had been the one to demand accountability from others, admonishing them for refusing to acknowledge their role in perpetuating systemic issues. Yet, when it came to her own family's history, Sunny suddenly appeared unwilling to confront the uncomfortable truth. Joy's accusation that Sunny was blaming her for a lawsuit that had nothing to do with her stung like a slap in the face. Sunny's face tightened, a flicker of panic visible in her eyes. She opened and closed her mouth, desperately searching for the right words, but the deafening silence that followed spoke volumes. The cameras captured every nuance of Sunny's emotional turmoil. The confusion, the frustration, the overwhelming sense of embarrassment. Joy had clearly cornered her, and Sunny found herself in the unfamiliar position of being on the defensive, her usual bravado and confidence shaken to the core. Behind the scenes, the production crew watched with bated breath, unsure of how to proceed. Should they cut to a commercial break, providing a respite from the raw, unfiltered conflict unfolding in real time? Or should they allow the tension to play out, knowing that the unfolding drama would undoubtedly captivate the audience and potentially boost the show's ratings? The air in the studio was thick with palpable tension, the audience leaning forward in their seats, collectively holding their breath. Sunny's composure, normally as steady as a rock, had crumbled, leaving her vulnerable and exposed. The stage was set for a dramatic showdown, and the outcome remained uncertain, hanging in the balance like a delicate thread. The interview had become increasingly intense, the tension palpable in the air as Joy leaned back slightly, her point made with unwavering conviction. Her eyes remained fixed on Sunny, issuing a clear and unyielding challenge. Defend yourself or admit the undeniable truth. The live audience, captivated by the unfolding drama, murmured in rapt attention, their whispers mingling with the rapidly escalating buzz on social media. Clips of the heated exchange were flooding platforms, with some viewers praising Joy for having the courage to stand up against perceived hypocrisy, while others were quick to criticize her for publicly embarrassing and humiliating Sunny in such a manner. However, it was becoming increasingly clear that this simmering feud was far from over. While Joy had delivered a scathing and unapologetic critique laced with a biting edge, Sunny now found herself at a critical crossroads. Would she muster the fortitude to fight back and reclaim her credibility, or would this confrontation spiral into something even more damaging and irreparable? Sunny sat silently, her palpable silence heavier than any words she could have possibly spoken in that moment. The damage had been done, and Joy's merciless critique had effectively exposed a troubling contradiction that Sunny now struggled to adequately explain or justify. The air was thick with tension, the audience holding their collective breath as they waited with bated anticipation to see how Sunny would respond to this unforgiving challenge. The stakes had never been higher, and the outcome of this clash would undoubtedly have far-reaching implications, not just for the two individuals involved, but for the broader societal discourse that they had unwittingly become a part of. The future remained uncertain, but one thing was clear: the resolution to this conflict would not come easily, as both Joy and Sunny now found themselves at a critical juncture, their reputations and legacies hanging precariously in the balance. The audience in the studio was left stunned and silent, their eyes glued to the stage as the dramatic confrontation played out before them. The cameras continued to roll, capturing every tense moment, but beyond the bright lights and watchful lenses, the aftermath of the incident had already begun to unfold. The footage of Joy's forceful takedown of her co-host Sunny was spreading like wildfire through the various social media platforms, dividing opinions among viewers. Some praised Joy for finally holding Sunny accountable, applauding her for addressing the long-simmering tensions between the two women in such a public manner. They saw it as a necessary and cathartic confrontation, one that had been a long time coming. However, there were also those who heavily criticized Joy, accusing her of being far too harsh and insensitive. They felt that she had crossed a line by turning what should have been a private personal struggle into a chaotic public display for all to see. Behind the scenes, the executives at the ABC network were frantically scrambling to contain the rapidly escalating situation that was unfolding on their flagship morning talk show. show. Rumors had begun to swirl through the entertainment industry grapevine, suggesting that some of the show's major corporate sponsors and blue-chip advertisers were growing increasingly uneasy and concerned about the unfolding on-air drama between the co-hosts. These influential advertisers were worried that the volatile and contentious dynamics playing out in front of the cameras could ultimately end up severely damaging the program's carefully cultivated reputation and, more importantly, negatively impact its overall viewership and ratings. The show's producers, too, were growing increasingly anxious and worried that the once collegial relationship between the co-hosts had now reached a critical point of no return. They feared that the very foundation upon which the successful morning program had been built was now on the verge of collapsing entirely, as the spirited, if occasionally heated, debates between the co-anchors had transformed into a very real and dangerously volatile situation that threatened to spiral completely out of their control. Caught in the middle of this escalating firestorm, the network executives found themselves walking a treacherous tightrope, desperately trying to maintain the delicate on-air balance and chemistry of the popular show, while also grappling with the intense fallout and collateral damage from an explosive confrontation that had somehow managed to captivate the attention of the entire nation. With reputations, careers, and millions of dollars in advertising revenue at stake, the pressure on the network to quickly regain control of the situation had never been higher. The public display of their disagreement continued, even as the days went by. Though Joy and Sunny appeared cheerful and shared the stage, the atmosphere between them felt cold and distant, creating an undercurrent of tension that was palpable to the audience. The audience, captivated by the unfolding drama, closely observed and analyzed every look, every word, and every subtle shift in body language, wondering if the two could move past this incident or if it signaled the end of their once celebrated on-screen partnership. Sunny, when later questioned about the incident by reporters, was cautious and measured in her responses. She acknowledged that the revelation of their shared family history had been a challenging and emotionally charged experience for both of them, but she did not apologize for her actions or for involving Joy in the public spectacle. Instead, she maintained a diplomatic stance, choosing her words carefully and suggesting that they were both professionals who would strive to resolve their differences in private. In contrast, Joy expressed her perspective on the matter in her own way, speaking candidly and openly about the emotional toll the incident had taken on her. She admitted that she had been hurt and blindsided by Sunny's revelation, and that it had shaken the foundation of their working relationship. However, she also expressed a desire to move forward, to find a way to reconcile their differences and rebuild the trust that had once existed between them. The audience, captivated by the drama unfolding before their eyes, could not help but wonder what the future held for this once inseparable duo. Would they be able to set aside their personal differences and rekindle the magic that had made them such a beloved on-screen pair? Or would the strain of their public disagreement prove too much to overcome, ultimately leading to the end of their professional partnership?